Hey there YouTube, AJ here. And this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So first things off, thank you for all the veterans out there, services, those who have served, those who are retired, those who gave it all for our country. My appreciation goes out to you. Second, 3-day weekend. That means I get to work on my car, finally. I've been traveling a lot, so I've been itching to get a lot of stuff done. I've been gathering parts and planning, and I'm getting ready to start doing this back half of the car. To do that though, I really got to figure out what I'm going to do about a gas tank. And I'm going to try this weekend to somehow fit this gas tank out of a 1966 Ford Mustang into this car, and there's not a lot of room. Originally, I wanted my gas tank to sit in this area here and be completely inside the car. That is a big ask because there's not a lot of room in the I could put a small tank in there. I could get a 7-gallon tank in there pretty easily. Actually, I have an old MG gas tank that would take a little bit of modification, but it would fit. But it's like 7.5 gallons at most. So I'm not real thrilled about that size of a tank. I want to get at least 10 gallons in here. I've been looking at ways of modifying this, and I think I can take this 66 Mustang gas tank and notch it to fit around here and shorten it, and it would fit inside and be around 12 gallons. And I would be okay with that, but I'm not sure if I want to do that or not because I got another idea. Ow. Now originally I was just going to build a tank from scratch for this to custom fit the back, maximize it. That's a lot of work, a lot of welding, a lot of good welding required, and to seal it up and everything. And it's going to be a while before I'm capable of that. I can mock it up at least, but came across on Facebook Marketplace a real good deal on this Mustang gas tank. It is a repop, but it came out of restored Mustang and had like 300 miles on it or something, and they decided to switch to fuel injection. So they pulled this tank out of it and put in the fuel injected tank, with the return and all that high pressure pump and all that crap. And so they were getting rid of this tank. And so what I'm thinking here, and I've had this idea for a while, I might take this tank and notch the back here somehow to kind of go around and over the rear cross member. And yeah, I would lose the capacity in this section, but it would be less welding, and it would stick out 3 or 4 inches though. So the tank would slide in basically right here, and it would stick out. Now, I was considering getting like a 32 Ford gas tank and putting in here, but that would even need modifications because it would be wider, and I kind of want to keep it between these body lines, the T-strip or whatever you call this, and that would actually have been wider, so I would have had to shorten it too. So everything I'm going to do is a compromise, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work with as little work as possible. Now, I have this panel with these cool ribs in it, and this, you may recognize this. This is actually a footwell for a rumble seat Model A. So I have this, and I was thinking, originally I was just going to use this to fill in my rear panel here, because obviously this was all rotted down here. So I was just going to use it for that. Now I'm kind of thinking, if I take this tank and slide it in, and like I said, I think it's going to stick out about 4 inches after I cut the groove, the relief in it. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I can take this panel and put it in there and kind of do like a little drop cover panel like on a 32 Ford. Now to do that, I will have to relocate my gas neck further back because of the way I plan on putting my filler in here. But I think that might look pretty good. So I think what I'm going to try to do this weekend is start cutting this to where I can get this guy in there and see how far it's going to stick out, and then try to mock up this panel to cover it and see how I like the way it looks. Now, one thing to keep in mind with using this panel, I'm also planning on putting louvers in between each of these raised ribs. So it will have like a little louver splash panel, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what to call it right now, but that's what I'm going to try to do. Let's get to it. Here is I'm going to put rails in here for the gas tank to slide in on. As I'm saying this, I'm not happy with what I've designed. See, my first idea was going to cut these flush to fit and where these sat pretty much level. Cut this above. I can still do that. I'll just have to make a bracket off of the side to mount these back here rather than off of this like I was planning. So we can still do that. Basically, once we figure out the level, we want to cut this across just a little bit higher than these brackets and leaving enough flange to bend up, because we're going to need a flange on here to mount our valance with the louvers and everything in it. I'll just have to come up with some bracket to mount it to the seams over here. I got a visitor. I got Joe from folks? Big Fast Customs down in Lawrence, South Carolina, right?
Yep, Lawrence.
Yeah, so he came up to get some parts. I hope he takes it. I'm hoping he takes it all.
Whatever fits in the car.
So anyway, yeah, we got a 8BA block here, and it's rough in places, but it is original. It's not overbored yet. It's not been bored.
Oh, awesome.
And this is the worst cylinder, and it's bad. It needs bored. This one's a little better, but not. It's still rough at the top. I think, I still think it can be saved. I couldn't find any bad cracks in it. Just the normal cracks.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as it's not cracked, I'm sure.
So, and I've already cleaned it.
Yeah.
So you've seen there's a video on me cleaning this.
Yeah,
so,
watch the video.
So I have a cam, and I know it's better than your cam because yours is in 2 pieces.
Yeah. Mine was in 3 pieces.
Yeah, all 3?
Yeah. When I finally got it out, 3 pieces.
Here's the worst part about this cam is that load.
Okay.
I don't know if it can be saved or not, but you can have this too if you want it.
Sweet, yeah.
So you can have the cam, you can have any of this stuff you want.
Sweet.
If you want to take it all, you can use it, go ahead.
Hey there, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am all right. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
There you go. Wow, what year is this?
The body's a 27, the frame is 28 to 31, the motor's a 52.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll free up some space for you, and
I am so tired of tripping on this crank. Well, thank you to Joe at Big Fast Customs. Check out his channel. I'll throw it up on the screen again. Anyway, he took a whole bunch of heavy parts and that were just cluttering up my space. He took them out of my way. So hope you enjoy him, Joe. Good luck on your projects. And if you guys haven't seen him, go check him out. Real nice guy. Anyway, let's see about getting back on this gas tank deal. Right, I think the first thing we need to do is start trying to trim these to where they sit kind of level. All right, let's see how this did. Now let's see how level that is. I do want the back to be a little higher, a little slightly tilted down. That way, because my fuel pickup will be in the front over there, so I don't want it to, I want it to slope towards the front. That would be about a ½ inch higher in the back. And this is going to drop down a little bit because I need to notch this to fit in here. So that's a good 1/4 inch. This needs to be lower. Let's go ahead and notch these pieces. All right, let's see how this did. We're good on height there, both sides, so I'm happy with that. Now where we at on our angle, dangle? About the same. All right, so all that seems to be, working out in theory so far. What we need to figure out now is how much of this we want to cut off. So that's the height I think we want. If we cut where this flange is just fitting between these, it's a little higher than the rails here. This is plenty long enough to make our cover panel. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to bend that into a flange. Can I get my legs through here? Okay. Okay, that's at right around 2 inches. All right, I think that's good. Ah. All right. I think we may have something there. That looks pretty good. How deep is this flange? How deep is this flange? I think I want to do two things. I think I want to cut it a little longer than this flange depth here, because I might possibly flange it and then put another break going down, just a little short edge just for strength. Let's just mark it 1.5. All right, so the thickness of this level is 3/4. So if we make 2 sets of lines, we should have 1.5. All right, so there's our cut line. And then bend line here, and let's cut this. Go for. So I cut this out. Forgot that my bend line is up here, so I need to cut this all the way over and up so I can bend this up. But before we do that, let's see if this panel is going to work the way I think it is. Because if it's basically up here, is that going to? Yeah, that's just about perfect. So yeah, that'll, depending if easy for me to say. If the stick out is manageable, it will work pretty much the way I'm envisioning, I think. So let's I'm going to go ahead and cut it over here and up to my line. Then these will get bent in and this will get bent up. I don't think I'll worry about this one yet, but we'll go ahead and we'll have to figure out how to bend this up. Well, I screwed up again. I didn't mean to cut this off, but I did. I was going to bend this back. Oh well. So I did that on both sides, but now we got this cut up here, and we need to figure out a way to bend this up and try to keep it right on the mark. And for that, I think I need to make a tool. Tool I made. Basically, it's just a thick chunk of steel with a slot cut in it, the length I need. And the idea is put it on our panel, slide it up to our line, and then bend it. So we just kind of need to keep repeating this process. And then once we get it bent up some, we can use a hammer and dolly to straighten out the line. Okay, now we need to take a hammer and dolly and flatten this out. I don't have time for that today though. Before I go, I'll show you this giant hole here. The idea is for it to ride up in here, which we're not quite wide enough yet. We might have to notch it a little bit, but it also, I need to put a curve in this to match this curve. So I got to straighten all this up, and then I'm going to put a curve in this. But the idea is this to be in here, up flush with that, and hang down kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe about like that or so, and have this little bump on the back of it. I think that'll look all right. And then my tail lights will mount down in this area. Yeah, next we need to start straightening out this part up here where it's got this whiskey dent in it. You got a bullet hole here, we gotta take that out. And slide this, maybe let's see how this tank fits already. All right, so that's hitting the cross member now. So without changing the depth, we can go in another 5 inches by just cutting it to fit around the cross member. And right now we've got 8 inches sticking out. So that would mean we would only have 3 inches hanging outside of the tank, outside of the body. And even with that, I can cut off at least a 1/2 inch of this flange. So we're not in that bad a shape. We're not looking too bad here at all. So I think that's what we're gonna do. That's about all the time I have today. I gotta go get ready. I got a couple of plants I gotta put in the ground. And then my wife and I are going out to dinner and going to see Les Mis tonight. So I gotta get clean and get the grease out of my fingernails and look pretty for her. All right, well, we're back to where we left yesterday. It's Sunday morning, and I've got the gas tank back in it, and it's just kind of wedged in there right now. This back end is high because I'm using this to just wedge it up against the flange here. This is actually going to drop down about, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so. So now what we need to do is see if we can make it slide in as far as we can, get it back in there. So let's go underneath and mark what we need to cut out of this tank. If you look inside here, you know, basically we're looking to bring this edge up to here. Okay, now let's go back underneath and see what we can cut out. All right, so if we look underneath here, here's our center of our rear cross member, and it really doesn't go flat until almost all the way out here. Oh man. Well, I guess I could cut up at an angle and then just cut out the bottom portion of it. Maybe that's what we need to do. So let's go back up top and let's start by marking our line of our cross member here. That wasn't what I was expecting to see down there. We'll take our marker and lay it flat on the cross member and just run it up the tank. Up and over the spring bolt, cross, back up and over the spring bolt. Okay, and now that that's marked, let's pull this tank back out and yeah, let's see what we can cut out. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, this is our line we need to cut out. It's a lot more than I thought I was going to have to be honest. I thought I was going to be able to come into about here. So now let's take our square. I'm going to put it at this edge, which is set back in about a 1/2 inch, and mark it to 5 inches here. And that should give me a little clearance. And we're going to do that on the same thing on the other side. Okay, now grab our straight edge. Okay, so this section here is what we need to remove. I mean, we might need to reevaluate this once we first test fit it. Now, I'll be honest, this is the part that scares me because this had gas in it when I got it, just a little bit, not much. I did air it out, run compressed air through it many times, and I set it out in the sun for a week, let it bake, So it does not smell like gasoline now. So I think it's safe. Just in case. Go boom. Never know. But wish me luck. Okay, there you have it. Cut it out, no kaboom. And for those of you wondering, I did take more safety precautions than that. Bottle of nitrogen down here. So basically I was flooding that tank after boiling it out in the sun. Not literally fire boiling, but you know, just the sun, 90-degree days beating down on it to help evaporate every bit of gas that was in it. I also purged it with nitrogen the whole time I was cutting on it, so there would be no oxygen inside of it for combusting. So I'm not that dumb. I may seem it sometimes, but I'm not. All right, well, we got our relieved tank here. Let's stick it in here, and this, I know that this will have to be cut out so this can drop down, but let's just do a preliminary fitting here. What we did here. All right. We need to cut this down. I wanted to just cut it at the same time, but this little sump here is catching. So I'm going to start by just notching it out for that sump and see how much better it gets before we commit to cutting the whole thing out. And if I won't cut the whole thing out, I'll just have to cut it and U it. But maybe I'll just cut a big U in it now. Okay, well, I cut this down. I did not want to cut it all the way out because I still want the structure that's in here. I might need to cut this down further. Probably would help if I put the right end in first. Well, made it a little further in. All right, well, that's about as far as it's going to go in. So bad news is I'm gonna have to relocate that. That kind of sucks. Oh well. Let's see what it looks like underneath it. Let's see how much clearance we got. Clearance. All right, so as you can see, we don't have a lot. So we're gonna need to take off at least another ½ inch here. Probably a full inch on each side of these. I'm probably gonna have to bring it right out here to the edge of the, whatever that's called, the edge of the tank. All right, up here, oh, it looks like we did pretty good up there. And the tank's sitting at an angle, so it's got to drop down yet, but I mean, it might need another ½ inch off of that as well. All right, let's ½ inch here, ½ inch around the top flange, and 1 inch on the sides. So I forgot to put my battery on charge yesterday. So I have 2 dead batteries from my cordless grinder, and then I just stepped on the wheel on that grinder and broke it. Lovely. Well, I ended up going ½ inch around this, making it ½ inch wider, but on the sides and the back here, this part, I went 1 inch wider. So hopefully I'll have plenty of clearance now. All right, I've got to cut this rear support thing down further. Oh, I also cut out the filler. But yeah, I got to cut this rear support thing most of the way out because I need to be able to see where this is going to level out. Back to that. Oh, are you kidding me? What are we hitting now? Well, now it's sitting about where I want it. It has just a slight slope forward, but it's not sitting in here. We're not sitting low enough. We're up a little too high here. I want it to be dropped down the front another 1/4 to ½ inch. We're not looking bad here because once I straighten out that flange, it should have a good gap. What's going on underneath? Well, we're not hitting here. We've got plenty of clearance on this side now. We are hitting here. Daggone it. That means we are going to have to bring this out all the way up into this corner because we're hitting here. At least we got to bring it up about halfway up into this curved piece, at least. All right. Shoot. I'm going to assume we're the same way on the other side. Yep, hitting here. Need to bring it up further. How are we doing over the springs? Plenty of clearance over the springs. All right. I won't make you watch me cut this one. I'll just be right back. Well, I cut a little more on the corners. I cut more on this side than this side because I was trying to keep my drain plug in here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not, but let's try it. Oh yeah, we got plenty now. This needs to drop more, but that's good. That gives us room to work in here. I think we got it where it's going to fit. We see how much of it's going to stick out, which isn't much. 3 1/4, so we can definitely get that under 3 inches by cutting this flange down. You can see where we're at in here. We're sitting pretty good on this lip here, right where we want it to be. If you look at our level, the tail's still high. I want it high, but not that high. So, you know, I want it the bubble to be about like that. So I need to drop the back about 3/8 of an inch at least. So maybe 3/8 to 1/2. You can see where our opening was. It put our fuel filler right on the bend of the body. So, you know, it's got to be relocated up in here. But yeah, that's not too bad. All right, so let's check our clearances underneath. As you can see, we got plenty of clearance here. Yeah. Yeah, we got clearance here on the side. And if we check our side over here with our, shit. We're sitting on the rail here. And that's our side with our tank drain. Shoot. We might have to lose our tank drain there. That's all right. We can put our fuel line. We'll put it right there in this bottom little sump. And we'll just go with that. So we need to cut a little bit more off here. Get rid of that. No big deal. I mean, if we have a drain here, it's the same thing. So no big deal. We'll just take that and relocate it. Let's see what we're going to be working with here. Alright, so that's not in all the way. I will probably most definitely be trimming that flange off to let this to drop a little more. I can't get this to sit down the way I want it. You know, envision it more down like that, and I'll put sides on it, and it'll be curved to match. I'll cut this flange off up here, and probably even bend it over more, so it's more, bend this over so it's more straight up and down. But I'll put end panels on this, shrink this edge here to where it matches the curve of the body, louver this, and I think that'll look pretty cool. I think that'll look all right. And then, because that'll come down into this area, and then this area will be for my tail lights. I think that'll be okay. And if not, I can always make the tank smaller and cut it straight across. Speaking of that, let's see how much I've lost in tank volume. Alright, so we're just going to do some fast math with the pieces I cut out. And mind you, there's going to be a little bit more, but then I'm not going to be accounting for this area, so I still think it's whatever. If I just do a rough rectangle volume, this is going to be more than those extra little corners I cut off. So let's just view it as a rectangle. It's a little bit over 6 inches. We have 25 and a half, 7 inches. 6 times 7 times 25.5 equals, that is 1,071. Divide that by 231, because a volume of gas is 231 cubic inches. 4.63. Ouch, it's more than I thought. That means my tank is going to be 11.3-ish. Well, it's close to 12. I can live with that. It's not as much as I was trying to get 12, but that's not too bad. Definitely don't want to go any smaller though, because that's gonna, if I try to stick it in there all the way, it's gonna get me probably under 10 gallons. And I don't want to do that. So that's about as small as we're gonna go. All right, moving on. So I cut out the bung, and I also trimmed this flange down. Let's see what we got for clearance. Now we need a little bit more there. Yeah, we're gonna have to go up to the top now, give us plenty of clearance. I think I'm gonna have to quit for the day here soon, because it's early, but it's looking like it's gonna rain, and Mr. Weatherman said it wasn't gonna rain till 5 o'clock, so he lied. Definitely don't want to stick out that far, because that's like way too much. I think we're gonna be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be bad at all. So now, I need to figure out a way to make this all stay in place on its own. Now, previously, I'd bent up these channels to mount it on. And of course, they're just roughed in. So in here we got, our gas tank will sit on this flange. I'm going to put supports in these bolt holes to bolt it down. Got these rails that'll be bolted here on each side, but we got to support the back end of this rail. And I'm thinking some kind of bracket that utilizes these bolts. So a piece, maybe a bracket that comes up, bends over, and welds to this. And then so these will bolt in here. Well, I think I'm going to call the video here for today at least. Like I said, it looks like it's going to rain. I want to get everything in out of the rain before that happens. I don't know if I'll be back on this tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday, Memorial Day. I don't know what the wife has planned for me, if she has anything she wants to do or whatever, but if she does, I will defer to that. And so if this is my outro, you're hearing it now. If it's not my outro, I won't even put this in the video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do my outro. Thanks for watching as always, really appreciate it. When we get back on this next time, we will start figuring out our brackets to hold this tank up in place on the back end. Yeah, everything seems to be working out pretty good. 11.3 gallons, I can live with that. Wanted 10 minimum, would have liked to have 12, but you know, it is what it is, man. There's just not much room in this car. So I would have liked to got 12 gallons without coming outside the body, but without making a completely custom tank conform to every nook and cranny in there. I mean, I could have done it because I could have brought it out into this fender. I could have got more in there. What's it worth? I mean, it would have been a completely made from scratch tank and a lot more welding and a lot more pinholes to fill, and I don't know. If I can't live with the 11.3 gallon tank, which I think I will, yeah, we can always revisit it and redo it. You know, we can always fill this panel back in, get rid of the little boot panel, and you know, we'll see how it looks. I think I'm going to be happy with it, with what I got in mind, what I'm envisioning. But anyway, again, thanks for watching. Next time we'll be on these, trying to get the bracketry and get everything to hold this tank in so I don't have to use a prop rod to hold it up. And so until then, YouTube, later.